Right, so thank you so much for putting up with me. I'd like to welcome to the stage, sponsored by the amazing folks at Teleflora, Miss Cindy Tole. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good morning. Can you hear me? It is it still morning officially? It is. Okay. Welcome, everyone. It's so nice to see so many people here. It has been a really long time since I've been to Michigan and the Great Lakes Florists Association. I was super, well, not super young, but I felt a lot younger. And very, very inexperienced when I came the last time with presenting programs, and I was a total and complete nervous wreck. And you all made me feel so welcome when I came here, and especially a really good friend of mine, Jerome Raska, who you all know and adore and love, and he's just fabulous. But he took me under his wing and told me everything was going to be all right, and that I could come up here and do this. And he helped me. He took me to his shop. He took me dumpster diving, which I didn't even know what that was at the time. But what did you tell me? We went alongside the road on trash day. He took me in his car, and he found all kinds of fun stuff for me to bring back and use for the program. So that was a really good teaching moment for me, and I really thank Jerome for all of his support throughout the years. And we have had a tremendous support team of volunteers here. I had Lori working with me hand in hand. Just say hello, Lori. She is awesome. I don't know how many of you know Lori. She works on Saginaw Island, right? And the shop is Saginaw, yeah, Mackinac Island, and your shop is Fleurs and Blue, yeah. And she's just, she can do everything and anything, and I was so lucky to get her to be a helper for me, and everybody else in the workroom too that has been so helpful. I thank them all so much. I do want to thank the association for bringing us here, for bringing Teleflora. Teleflora is #1 in the industry for education, and we consistently and constantly remain committed to education. You know, it's hard sometimes to get education in other parts of the country. You are all so lucky with your association. Great Lakes Floral Association has a tremendous educational program, and so much support for their florists. You are the luckiest place in the country for floristry. You really are. This association is fantastic. But around the country, there's places that are so distant from education, or there's just not a lot of involvement in it. Teleflora will reach out to every part of the country to bring floral education wherever they can, just to help uplift all of us to a higher level of professionalism. I was born and raised in the floral industry. I'm a third-generation florist, so I'm a real florist. I go home every day, and you know, I work in my flower shop. It's a different day for me every day. We have funeral work, we have event work, we have wedding work, and sometimes we don't have much work on a bad day, but we all just adapt with it and do our best to keep it elevated to a place of professionalism and pride in what we do, because there are not too many industries left in this world that do the kind of thing we do for people in a very personal way, in a one-on-one. And I think our country needs that, and our communities need that to you know, support and be there for each other. So grateful for this industry that we're in. So, okay, we have only about an hour to talk about all these bouquets. You're seeing wonderful programs throughout the weekend. The one following is Sandy Schreck is going to show you how fabulous you can elevate event designs, and so we're a little bit coordinated in complementing each other on what we're doing. I'm presenting the actual bouquet portion for the most part. That you know, that's the #1 thing that brides focus on, I think, when they come into your store for a consultation or call you. You know, the most important thing to them, I think, is their bouquet. Sometimes it's the reception and the food, but for us, we hope it's those flowers and that bouquet. And I think if you do get a bride in your shop, you know, they have these online services that brides can sign up for, so they can connect with vendors. And sometimes I look at them and it asks you questions. How many people are coming to the wedding? What is your venue? What is the time frame? What are your colors? And then it says, how important are flowers to your wedding? And sometimes I see those numbers at 5 or 6, like they're not really, they don't even think about it really. That's not the most important thing. But honestly, I think flowers are the finishing touch to bring everything together for a wedding. The linens are fabulous. The chair rental's fabulous. The lighting's beautiful. But when you walk in at the end of all that setup and you place your flowers on the table and you light those candles, that's when it all comes together, and that's when the memories are really made. The full vision comes to life. So hopefully we can help with a little bit of that today. So what I did was just research a little bit about trends in bouquets, in weddings this year, and in colors. And what I found out, even through experience and researching, colors oftentimes recycle year after year in a different iteration. We always see blue. Always, blue is always popular. I think it's because people can wear blue really well. So, and it's oh, she can wear that dress after the wedding, that kind of thing. So blue is a practical and comfortable color for a lot of people. We always see some shade of brown or tan or taupe or a mocha color, something like that. They call it something different every year. Every year it's a different shade of brown. And we see green. Consistently, we see green all the time. People love sage green. They love, back in the 70s, they loved mint green. Who knows anything about a rainbow wedding? There's a few. Rainbow weddings, every bridesmaid had a different colored dress, and they were always pastels. You had pink, peach, lavender, mint green, yellow, blues, and each bridesmaid had a different color bouquet. I remember working in the flower shop as a little girl. My mom, nosegays were the thing. Everything was a round little nosegay, and each girl had their own little nosegay of whatever it was. It could have been carnations and sweetheart roses, that kind of thing. But that's the way they presented weddings way back when there were rainbow weddings. It was everybody did their own thing. Well, we're seeing a little bit of a trend to that too these few years. You see a green wedding where everybody has a different shade of green dress. Somebody looks good in emerald, somebody looks good in forest, somebody looks good in sage, and you see all these different colors of green coming out in the wedding party. And then their bouquets can all be the same to complement the various dresses, but they can also be different. So I think we're seeing a lot of mix and match, and a lot of each girl wear what's comfortable, and each girl hold a different style bouquet, that kind of thing. So when you have wedding parties of 12 or 14 bridesmaids, isn't it nice to not have to make every single one exactly the same? Because that can get a little tedious after a while. Okay, so green and blue and brown are constant colors, but this year we were reintroduced to the color of my prom dress. I don't know how many years ago it was, peach. So peach fuzz is the Pantone color of the year, which I know you've all heard this, and I don't know how you feel about it. Do you like peach? Yeah? Do you think it's a good color to work with? I love peach, and I guess I do because my prom dress was that color, and my bridesmaids' dresses were rust with peach flowers, so that must be something in my head that I like. So I am super excited about peach fuzz, and part of the reason they chose peach fuzz this year was because they wanted a color that was warm and comfortable and inviting and made you feel comforted and soft and gentle. We're in a lot of turmoil in the world right now, so they wanted something that was look, I'm loving the peach people out here. Something that made you feel happy, a little more subdued, not so tight, not so cold, and I think peach fuzz was a great choice for that. So I'm going to start with peach because we're going to start from the front and work to the back. And I've made bouquets to go in each section. So what my thought was here was, since I am a retail florist, I do get a lot of questions and consultations about the flowers for the wedding and what it cost and what we're going to do with it at the wedding. So what I thought would be a kind of a fun idea would be just to show bouquets that can be, and ways they can be repurposed at the reception. So, they're always asking, can I use that somewhere at the reception? Do you think that that's possible? And, a lot of times one of the go-to things we do is to take a bouquet and have vases sitting around at the reception. It's the easiest thing for us, easiest thing for the bride, easiest thing for the wedding coordinator, the wedding planner. Scoop up the bouquets at the church, bring them to the reception, and drop them in vases, which is super, super easy and super effective. It gets a little boring after a while, so there's ways you can use the bouquets that really will enhance part of the reception flowers. So this is just a really beautiful bouquet of the peach anthurium and the peach garden roses. And this one, I'm going to have to look because this one escaped me. This was a gorgeous, I just found this, I didn't ask for this rose, but they gave it to me, and it is absolutely phenomenal. This one is called, okay, here it is. It's not, what is it? Say that again. Columbus? This one. No, it was a long word. I'll get it. Okay, Copperfield. There it is. Copperfield. Okay. It's a very fragile rose, actually. It's a big, big, heavy-headed garden rose, and it can pop off at that joint, that joint that roses have. So what happened here was a couple of them we found cracked at that joint, and so I asked Lori, I said, let's use these in a bouquet and in the bouquet holder. So this one's done in a bouquet holder, and you can get that really rounded shape that way. And you can finish bouquet holders off in a lot of different ways to make them look really nice and professional. This was one of the last ones we did, so we just have it taped. I will say this, I'm not an advocate of taping a bouquet holder as your finish, because it's kind of sticky and it's kind of not great. So I would always wrap it with something afterwards or make a faux stem base for it. If you make a faux stem base, have you ever done that with a bouquet holder where you take real stems and you use it as a holder on the back? So what you can do is take the flat-handled or round-handled holder, put Oasis glue on it and let it get a little bit tacky. Then you take a bundle of sticks or stems that are the length that you want the stem to be, put a rubber band around them, and then just wedge it up on there. Let it dry, and then remove the rubber band, and you've got stems on your bouquet. Sometimes you might wrap a band of ribbon like you normally would, and it really looks like the stems from the bouquet. So that's an option for that. So let's just say you have a very pretty container. We've got lots of beautiful pieces from Accent Decor that we're going to feature here today that are gorgeous for weddings. I find a lot of these beautiful vessels are wonderful for rentals. If you can sell this, wonderful. If you can't and it's not in the budget, it could be just a rental item that you have on the table, and the bride can, or bridesmaids can set their bouquets in it, and you have a beautiful centerpiece. And I'll just kind of show it right here, and then we'll bring it back for later. But something like this. Oops, I got a little rickety stand here. Here, there's a lump in the stage. Okay, yeah. So it'd be a beautiful centerpiece. Put some votive candles around it. When the girls walk in, they can just drop their bouquets. So that's an option for one, just a compote like that. And let's see what else we have back there. Okay. Okay. All right. And another, I want to show you this one. This is kind of fun. And I brought mechanics to show you how some things are done, because I think that's so important. We don't always, we see something and we don't know. This bouquet was something that I created just for fun. I wanted something a little more unusual, more European styled, and I've been enamored by Hitomi Gilliam and her work with yarn, and she's an amazing artist, the things she does with the yarn. So I thought, I need to do something really different. And what this is just, it's really pretty. You see the stems of the bouquet back here, so it's very modern, very different. And what I did was I took a coil of chicken wire. I made just a thin coil like this. And so what you want to do is just take all of the raw edges of the chicken wire when you do this, and make sure they're pushed in. You kind of overlap them and hook them in, and make sure they're all in so that there's nothing, that hurts you. And then I took yarn sticks that I covered with yarn. It was, I think 18 gauge wire is fine, and I covered them with yarn. And then I also used some Oasis wire. This is the etched Oasis wire, which I really like the texture of it, and it's a little more subtle than the bright wire. So what I first did was wrapped a row of the gold wire around, and then I went back the other way, so I got a crisscross. Is there a water back here? I'm sorry. Okay. So I got that crisscross pattern. And then I took the same thing with the chenille wire. Oh, thank you. Oops. Water. That's good. Thank you. Okay. So I did the same thing with the chenille, back and forth. So if you really look closely, it's kind of a crisscross pattern. And I'll pass this around if somebody wants to just stand it back. And then I've used a grid in the center. It's just 1/2 of the Syndicate Sales pillows that you clamp together to use as grid work. I just used 1/2 of it and attached it with the wires, and you can see that back here too. So you could lay leaves in here afterwards and just glue some leaves to cover that grid work back there. You could also spray paint this gold or peach colored if you wanted to. And I'll show you what I did on another grid work. So that's all back there. This is all really stable. Then I just fed everything through, and so it's a hand-tied kind of spiral type thing. It's a little bit modified spiral. It's not exactly perfect, but that's okay. I used the carnations, those terracotta carnations down in deep, just for color base, and then overlaid it with various roses, the Moab roses, the Juliet garden roses, peach hypericum, and then this beautiful kind of wine-colored Cymbidium orchid as just an accent for depth of color. So you got a very modern look there. Not every bride goes for something like that, but it's a really fun thing for something different. All right, I'm going to set you here. Okay. And so the one I made here is probably a little larger than life, not likely the size you would sell to most brides, but I think the one that we're passing around is a little bit more realistic in size. And that I found really worked well to take the chicken wire and kind of stretch it so I could get it, just the thinness that I wanted it. You don't want to start too thick or you'll be in trouble with a really big fat sphere around there. You want to kind of keep it nice and light and simple. So I wanted to show you just other ways to make armatures or structures to build your bouquets on. We're seeing a very light, more open looking bouquet now this year. Maybe monochromatic in color or monobotanical sometimes. And sometimes we look at it and think, how do they do that with no greenery or no, it's light, you can feel the airiness of it. So again, I just wanted to show you this. You can build yourself little structures on these Syndicate Sales forms, the pillows or the eggs, whatever shape you want. I spray painted this one white. You can go over it with an enamel or I even thought about nail polish or something just to kind of keep it, so the color didn't come off of it. And then I just took these yarn covered wires and just wove them on there real irregular. And what they do is when you add flowers to this, if you have soft flowers like lysianthus or tulips or anything like that that wants to flow and you want to get some length out of it, but you're really worried about it flopping, these will kind of support it and they'll kind of feed your flowers in directions that you want it to go. So you may have a good heavy center in here of roses or dahlias or something like that, but you want something to flow out nicely, but it needs a little support. And you don't want a bunch of greenery in there. So something like this is a lightweight, easy thing, and you kind of do it in the color of whatever. If you're going to do an all white bouquet, you do this. If you do all peach flowers, you can do peach, or you can use just a soft pale green, just like the stem color, that kind of thing. So it's an option for a different type of structure. Okay, if anybody has questions throughout, just give a holler. I wanted to do a bouquet that was just a little different. My husband, he's my biggest cheerleader and my biggest, are you sure you want to do that kind of guy? So he's like, this is a bouquet program. I said, it's a bouquet. He goes, that's a bouquet? I said, that's a bouquet. Yeah. So, not everybody wants a round bouquet. Not everybody wants a hand-tied garden bouquet. So something like this is a little different. And what I started out with was 3 metal rings. They came actually Dollar Tree's kind of one of my friends occasionally. They have the set of the 3 rings, and I had poor Lori. She wrapped them completely with raffia for me, but it wasn't that bad, was it, Lori? Okay, she said it wasn't bad. Okay, and I said do it a little messy because I wanted to look fairly natural. So she did, and I said leave some of the little stringies out and just make it look kind of rustic. So she did. This other vine in here, you don't have to use a yarn vine, but this one is. It's a really pretty spring green color that it was a long vine, and I use, was it aluminum wire or steel wire that we used? Steel wire. Okay, so my husband has in the garage these rolls of steel wire, like clothesline kind of wire that he has. So that's what we used on this and made really long strands. So this is all one strand in here. And to wrap that, if you haven't ever wrapped yarn, it can be really tedious. It's not so bad when you're doing, just a regular length of wire and just going on that. You can sit there at night when you're having coffee and dessert and ice cream or whatever you do at night and watch TV or the news. You can just sit there and wrap some of the yarn leaves and or yarn strands. Or if you have a really long one, you can hook it up to a power drill, and he's got something rigged up for me in the garage. It's like a hook that we hook it onto, turn the power drill on, and it just goes and goes and goes, and it's really fast. So you can get that creative edge without spending your whole life with doing a lot of labor. So also wove in some fresh pussy willow to give it a little bit of a curl, and then all I did was make a beautiful bow at the top. And that's something that I have read and found in trends for 2024. Bows are coming back. They not necessarily the big fat pew bow, but some sort of beautiful loops of ribbon with some streamers, or something just so elegant, an extra touch. It could be just tied onto the stem of the bouquet. Could be in an arrangement to have a bow. But bows are a trend for this year, and I'm kind of happy, and Lori's happy, because we came from a generation that grew up on lots of beautiful ribbon. I think our current generation doesn't use much ribbon, but it's such a creative element to your designs, and it adds color and texture and movement to what you do. So if you use the ribbon gently and carefully, I think a bow can be super pretty. So we can pass this one around too if you want, because it's easy to pass around. And then just glue a few flowers on there. Did you like that one? Thank you. Okay. I got one more for Peach. This one. I do want to thank Teleflora for the beautiful product this spring and every holiday. They have given us, this is a cascading style bouquet, and this is a hand-tied cascade. This is hand-tied. And this is probably one of the hardest things I think we have to deal with, is to get a cascading bouquet that's hand-tied with some style. We can make the big relaxed ones with, lots of greenery coming out and trailing down. But to get a little more stylized or detailed bouquet, it's a trick. It really is a trick, and we have to find ways to make it work. So what I started out with this one is I used the Holly Chapel Syndicate Sales egg, which is the oval-shaped structure for an armature, and that's in the middle. But I also took a faux branch of blooming blossoms. These are faux. Don't they look real? They sure do. Yeah, yeah. So it was bendable and it's wired, and I was able to get exactly the shape I wanted for the cascade out of that. So I attached that egg to what I did was at the top of the faux branch, I made an oval loop and just zip tied the cage into that oval loop. So there's no stem or no handle, but I had that to start with, and you just do the same process you would with the egg. Start inserting all your stems, and you will eventually come up with your handle. And then bring it down. I wove some other vines through it, and then in a couple places, just key places, I glued on a blossom or two to bring some of the natural product down into there. But super stable, super lightweight, and very well balanced with that egg and that branch in there. So hope you like that one. Okay. And so I wanted to show also how these types of things can be added to your tables. So if you have a structure like this accent decor stand here, that's already on the table. I know some of us are behind this, but we can look later. That's greened up with some very pretty greenery. It could have ribbon on it, like we're talking about bows. It could have accents of other flowers already in there, but you could just add a bouquet at the top as you get to the reception. So you've got, I don't know if you can all see that from back there, but it's a very beautiful piece to go maybe on a food table, like a buffet. It's already pretty with the greenery, but when you get there, one of the bouquet elements could go there. So lots of ways you can show all these things. And Teleflora's Pink and Peach Paradise vase. This was a Mother's Day vase from several years ago. Love this line of vases. It's just an ombre kind of shimmered vase, very stable. It's almost like art glass. It's just beautiful, and it makes a wonderful piece for any type of arrangement, and as well, yeah, put the flowers right in the candle. That's a good idea. Any kind of design, and let's just get all our candles in there. And so this could actually sit, maybe on a cake table in this pretty vase. So you have something really pretty in the vase rather than just a cylinder. It'll pull in that peach color that everybody's wanting for their wedding this year. I wanted to share with you a couple other. This is a new. You haven't seen this yet. This is for. Is Lottie here? My Lottie McKinnon. She's back here somewhere. This is for. There you are. Is this Mother's Day, right? Yeah. This is so pretty. This sparkle vase. It's a cylinder, a 5x5 cylinder. Totally valuable for everything and anything you could ever want. Makes a beautiful candle. And the color of this vase is so pretty. It's neutral, but you could put it with anything and it just pulls that color from it. You put it with greens, it's going to be gorgeous. You put it with peach, you put it with orange, even a bright orange in here. Just anything is gorgeous in this vase. This is going to be one of my all-time favorites. And then I just did some little monobotanical things just to scatter around. And again, the whole idea of you don't want to undersell your reception by saying you can just use the bouquet. So offer photographs of things like this, where let us do this really pretty, beautiful greenery element, and let us have that in place. We've got greenery here, we've got greenery there, we've got some greenery on here. Let us have this in place. And even something like this, just a bowl with a decorative accent on it. This has got like a grid on here that I've made out of, that's one of the things I like to save a lot is hypericum branches. Every time I cut this much off the hypericum to use in an arrangement, I've got this much stem that I paid for. I paid for that stem, so I'm going to make something out of it. So, so I do a lot of grid work in my shop that we use on bowls. We also put these upright behind permanent wreaths in our shop, you know, as a little bit of a different texture and grid in there. So we have buckets of hypericum berry branches that we constantly are weaving little things out of. So it's a really valuable element, I think. So anyways, so show them things, sell them a dozen roses or 4 garden roses or 10 tulips in little vases scattered on the table, as well as a place for them to put their bouquet and really elevate that reception table that way. Okay, that's our peach fuzz. Do you like peach? I love it. Okay, the next color I'm going to move to, and I don't have a whole, I'm doing bad on time, huh? Okay, so blue is making a round again this year, and the shade of blue is more of a porcelain blue. This is what we're seeing a lot of, or porcelain blue or a kind of muted chambray blue. So girls will have navy. Do you have those color boards back here? The solid ones, are they here? Okay. Oh, okay. So blues always come back every year in some form. The porcelain blue is very popular this year, and Accent Decor has a wonderful line of porcelain pottery like this. And when I got these, I was so impressed by the quality of the painting and design on these Accent Decor. And the good thing is, it also comes in peach. It's a corally peach color, so if you really want to dress up your, got it, thank you, dress up your peach fuzz this year, you can order this porcelain pottery in that coral peach color too. And let me show you one more little thing, just because we're all real florists, and we do get a lot of requests for things that, you know, maybe we want to do a centerpiece. This is just hydrangea in here. It's just 4 little hydrangea, but this container is actually 2 bowls that are glued together with like ceramic glue, and they've been this way for about 7 or 8 months. I've had them, so they haven't popped off. I've used them a couple of times. These, again, Dollar Tree bowls. So this is a very inexpensive but good look for working in with some of your finer pieces of porcelain, and no one would know the difference. And that could be the takeaway arrangement that people take. You know, maybe you just accent with the little component pieces like this, and the takeaway, they can take that one away. And there's always somebody who wants to take it away. So I'll talk a little bit about what I've done here now with these backdrops. Lion Ribbon was so generous to provide us with some beautiful ribbon for this program, and I brought some from home, which my husband is really happy I did, because he says, "Why do you have so much ribbon?" Do you need all that ribbon? Of course I do. I have to make these things. So anyway, so all we did was we got these stands at a it's a supply place for a fixture store, you know, like used fixtures and things like that. We have one in Greensboro, which is a lot of fun to go just look and get some ideas. You see lots of mannequins there. You see racks that you hang clothes on, which is actually what these are. You could put a sign in them, because that's not the best one to show you. Let me show you this one. They have a slot in here to put a sign right in here, and it just takes the foam core. This piece of foam core would fit in there. But I thought I'd do it a little different, and the reason I did these was to show you color and to give you some variations of color that are working with the trends this year. I just tied them to the top and let them go to the floor, and then we made these color boards, storyboards that we we had printed, but the rack was 35, and the printing of the storyboard, what were they, 30? Something like that. Yeah. So this, if you do a lot of events, you could display something like this in your consultation area. And when you come in, and the girls come in, and they're in there for their consultation, and they say, I'm not visual, I can't visualize. So it's always nice to have something that shows what the real thing's going to look like. The real color. You can bring flowers out and hold it up against. What shade of green is your dress? You know, is it this emerald or is it this jade green? You know, that kind of thing. Let's hold some flowers next to this. That kind of thing. Or if they bring a swatch in, even that's great too. But to take a bouquet and, you know, let's just say you get a handful of flowers for her to look at and hold it together. This is just a little nosegay of all white roses, two types of white roses, and down in deep I've based again with carnations. When they say no carnations, kind of give it another second thought, because there's ways you can use carnations that, you know, work really well. It's a good firm support for something like this, whereas if you use a hydrangea in there, you know, maybe it's a hot summer day, the hydrangea could go down. This would be spring because of the grape hyacinths, but you know, think about things like that when you're selling and creating designs. Carnations don't always have to be a no-no. There are some very effective ways to use carnations. They smell good, they hold up, they give texture, and the colors, you'll see a few later on that are just phenomenal. So a little feverfew, a little the grape hyacinths, muscari, and some of the Playa Blanca roses, and some, I think these might be alabaster garden roses in here. So this is a lot of fragrance and a lot of springtime. This is not an inexpensive bouquet, but it is very demure, very petite, and I think we're seeing a move back to that. I don't know if you've talked to a lot of brides this spring, and they're going towards a more small bouquet, and we think sometimes that trend is coming from Kate Middleton and her bouquet. She did not have a Princess Diana bouquet by any means, or a Princess Diana dress. It was very tasteful, very classic, very elegant, and nothing was overwhelming. She had Lily of the Valley, but you know, picking out blooms that are special or really important or meaningful to the bride, and creating her own style, personal bouquet like this is really what I see a trend coming, not just, you know, the big open that we've seen for so long, which has been so beautiful. It really has. The relaxed feel. We're now looking at a little bit more personalized, a little bit more specific in what they're asking. Okay. And I have one more blue bouquet, and this again is a hand tied. So this also shows us with the blues what we're seeing as the little bit of accent this year is just a touch of yellow. And don't you love the yellow with the blue? It's just so pretty. And this is just a very soft canary yellow. It's almost leans towards a gold, but you got the little butterfly ranunculus and the other Clooney ranunculus. We've got all kinds of gorgeous textural flowers in here, and that's what we're seeing too, is a trend towards pastels as one of the trends this year. So we're seeing a lot of lilac, some yellows, a little bit of always pink, always pink, and soft blues mixed in with some greens and things like that. So a lot of texture in this one, a lot of depth in this one. This also is a hand tied, and yeah, I've got one of the eggs inside to get my shape started and to hold some of the stems in place, and then adding in just all the different textural elements up and down. That's the great thing about the eggs and the pillows. You can get tons and tons of depth because they do help to stabilize your flowers, and a little bit more airiness in between. Okay, so we're going to add that to our blue collection, and I'm going to put this one in one of the gorgeous accent decor vases course, I did make a big handle on this. Let's see if we can do that. So if you have the table set, yeah, with the vase, the brides can bring their bouquets and just drop them in. It can be part of the table decor. And how pretty that works with that. Okay. Loving the blues. Okay. And let's see. We're going to move on to the next color, which we'll go with the green. So green is like a neutral. Everybody can put just about anything with green. You can put blue with green. You can put peach with green. Peach is gorgeous with green. So just to show you, maybe peach flowers are what she'll use, but she might be afraid to buy the peach dresses. But look how gorgeous peach looks up against greens. White and green is a classic always. It's such a fresh, natural look. You could do just all kinds of simple things like that. And ooh, there you go. So think about it as an open palette that you can put anything with it. We talked a little bit about the pastels coming in. And this year, I'm going to put this just right here. We mentioned lilac. That color of lilac is really still coming up in spring weddings especially. And you can take that lilac and you can enrich it with some deeper tones, the plums, the magentas, and things like that. And again, textures. This is a little bit more of the style that we've been seeing for a while, but still popular with a lot of brides, especially in the outdoor weddings. This fits really well in an outdoor garden wedding. Hand tied again. And look, bows. We got bows. I got ribbon. So, it's subtle, yet it makes a statement because it gives you some movement and flow to your bouquet. It can accentuate a sage green dress. This lilac with greens is just, look at that. So pretty. Yep. So pretty. So it's if the girl's favorite color is purple and the girl's bridesmaids say, I'm not wearing a purple dress, she can have purple flowers in some form. Take a look up here really close when you get a chance. There's so many surprise elements in here, and I think that's also something that the brides are looking to see too. You have a hard time sometimes selling a bride something different. I want silver dollar eucalyptus with white flowers. How much of that can we do? Are we tired of that? Look what else we can do. There's more that we can do for you than just throw some greenery on the table and put some white flowers with it. That's great, and it is pretty, but look how many other options there are. Scabiosa, calla lilies, helleborus, privet berries, and there's even a surprise little protea down in there. And this flower right here, how many of you seen the veggie roses? A few of you? Oh my gosh, you got to look at this thing. Now, it's a little wilty right now, and the reason it's a little wilty is because I brought it from North Carolina, and I bought it before Valentine's Day. Yeah. So it's a really, really long-lasting flower. It's been in my cooler, and it was crispy until I got here and started, getting a little crazy with it. But look at that thing. It's just so wonderful, the texture of it. And for that kind of longevity, it's not an inexpensive flower, but oh my gosh, to put a surprise element like that into an arrangement or bouquet is so much fun. Okay, so I'm going to set you here. And mixing ribbons is also a wonderful thing. It doesn't have to be just one ribbon. You can mix and match textures and colors and things like that just to give you more interest in the bouquet. I've got another one in a palette that is super pretty. Look at that. If you like the purples and the greens, we got that. This bouquet is all helleborus, all from my garden, and a little bit of a stilby. I have a woodland area in my house, in my yard. It's not huge, but it's just our backyard, and mostly because it's easier than manicuring the lawn sometimes. But I planted hostas out there years ago, and helleborus, and lily of the valley, and everything I could think of that would grow good in a woodland area. Because we didn't have a lot of bright light, so I said, let's do shade. And helleborus just went crazy in there. So when you get to this one, take a look at the, I forgot to put a ribbon on there, I'm sorry. It's just taped, but we'll get a ribbon on it. The armature in here is very similar to what I did with this. It's loops of yarn-covered wire, and they're much smaller. I mean, it's a smaller armature. You can see, you know, there's one right there and here, just so the size. And it just is sort of like you tie it together like a hand-tied bouquet, the actual armature pieces. And then when you get it together, like a bouquet, it's kind of like this actually, only out of yarn. You've got these loops, but it was the yarn covered wire, so you can form them and move them wherever you want. Then I just took taped wire and took like 3 pieces of taped wire and set it over, draw it down, and that gives you the handle to work with. So you can look at that closer afterwards and see how that was put together. And then so that gave me the support. There is no egg or no chicken wire or anything like that in there. Those pieces of loops are kind of propping up the floppy blooms of the helleborus, so they kind of stay in the position they need to be. You know, the stems can be really soft, and sometimes they can, you know, go over a little bit more than you want them to. So, you know, their heads sometimes face down. How do you get them to be up where people can see them? Well, that's all it is. There's a loop under there that kind of pushes it up, and it's in the same color palette that the bouquet is. And you can do that with all kinds of flowers. Tulips, if you wanted to do an open, airy, relaxed tulip bouquet, you know, those tulips do everything that you don't want them to do. You can actually take them and just put a little tiny, you know, twist of bind wire or bullion to this loop. That'll keep your tulip going right where you want it, and the next morning it's not going to be straight up or going over there. So it's a good tool for training your flowers in your bouquet to go where you want them to go. Okay. And let's see, I'm just going to set that. Look how pretty that is with green. Yummy, yummy, yummy. Okay. Oh, and this is a Teleflora vase for Easter, I believe. It's a mercury glass cylinder vase with that lilac lavender tone that is so trendy. So keep all those wonderful containers in mind. How you can use them for events and weddings, for candle holders, and for everyday designs. They're super fashionable for everything. Teleflora does a lot of trend research when they come up with these vases. So if you get a vase in for a holiday, you're almost guaranteed that someone and most people are going to like it. And the reason is because of all the research they do. They do surveys with consumers. They do surveys with florists. I get the survey. How many of you get the Teleflora survey about containers? Anybody here? It's a good thing because, you know, if they send me one and I see that the opening is this wide, you know, and we know we can't put an arrangement in there that's going to, you know, be in the right price point for that type of a vase, I'll say it's too big, you got to bring the opening in, we like this one better, you know. So they research all this, they look at it, and then they come up with the one that does the best in all the research. So, you know, when you see this mercury glass, you know that the consumers and the florists are happy with it and that it's going to work for you in your shop. So so you can almost be guaranteed. This one also is like the pink and peach paradise. This is still in the everyday line. This one's the amethyst. Isn't that a beautiful color? And look how that enhances flowers. So pretty. Okay. And one more trend in colors, in flowers that we're seeing is bright, bold jewel tones. Things that are going to stand out and really make a statement. We finally can use color again in wedding work. I am so excited. So you will see dresses in magenta and fuchsia and very bold colors. You'll see like shades of orange and deep golds and things like that. It's not going to be for everybody, but there's going to be a few people who find that color scheme to be really, really fun, really exciting for fall or whatever. You'll see, some of the orangey tones and the rusty tones, and you'll see bright, bright blues or bright plum purple colors, crimsons and reds and things like that. Color is coming back. So look at what we have in flowers available to us that have so much fabulous color. Textures, again, we've got every color possible under the rainbow here except for the blues, but it all kind of gives you that rich vibrancy that some of the brides are really trending towards this year. So be ready with that when you're selling colors. Don't let them say, oh, I have pink dresses, we're going to do pink flowers. Okay, you got pink dresses. What shade of pink are they? Are they magenta, fuchsia? Look what that looks like against it. How stunning and how absolutely striking something like that can be. Even on a blue or aqua type theme, it sets off really, really pretty. This is a Teleflora also vase. Is this one Easter? This vase, I think? Yeah, the aqua cylinder vase, yeah. So, and again, really wonderful for all year. So this structure here on this table is from Syndicate Sale, or from Accent Decor, I'm sorry. It's a new stand that they have. It's a sphere like this. It's a tabletop sphere like this, almost like the spheres that you see for the wedding arches that have been so popular for so long. This one is fabulous on the table, and the great thing about it, it's at the exact height level that you need for conversation and for a statement piece in the room. So they were so generous to send this to us for the program, and you can have it at the reception already in place on the table. Maybe have a runner running through it. And then maybe the top could be just greenery. It's got enough on the top for a double block of oasis or floral foam, and you can really do a massive arrangement in here. You could go up to the moon in it if you wanted to. It's just very sturdy, very stable, and it allows, there's a plate here, so you've got a very stable piece to put a centerpiece or a bouquet of any type. So I'm just going to set this one in here because this could be where somebody sets on a buffet table, maybe one of the bouquets, the bride's bouquet even, but you've got a beautiful way of repurposing that bouquet, yet you still sold them something else to go with the wedding. So again, never, never, never undersell yourself. All right, I'm going to just set this little guy maybe here so you can see them. Okay. All right, so that's green. Our neutral backdrop can be just about anything you want. And then the last one is brown. And any questions so far on anything? We got our mechanics. I'm trying to help you learn some of the techniques that we've learned along the way. And that's the great thing about coming here, because we all share ideas and we all learn new techniques from each other. And we're back in the workroom. If you are any sort of thought of volunteering in the back workroom for your association, that's where you want to be, because you get to get in there and see all the new varieties, all the new techniques, and talk to the designers and learn some of their secrets on how they put things together. And you learn so much back there. I think that's how I come to know some of the things that I've learned over the years, is just by being back there. So it's a great place to go for volunteering. Okay, so we'll move on to brown real quick. I'm going to start with just a pretty little bouquet that we have that armature set up for out there on the front. So this is a beautiful color combination. We got these roses. Oh, we did glue it. Okay. Roses, orchids, and pincushion proteas and the spray roses in such gorgeous combinations. They are so, so pretty. So the roses, the ones we got were called Aloha, and there's a couple other roses in that color family that we get also that is really nice. I think it's called, it's going to come to me. I will when I get it. But anyways, it's a deep, rich, vibrant golden yellow color. And sometimes leans toward orange, so it works really well. And you can see the palette that they're showing with the browns this year. And you're seeing some of the russet, burnt orange, the golds, things like that. But how pretty that sets off from a very neutral background. Whether it could be just a mocha color, or it could be something even a little more chocolatey, just anything in that family. And then you also might see something in a burgundy wine color, but how pretty that looks with it too. So it's really a versatile color combination that can work with lots of things, even greens. It's beautiful with greens and golds. So very, very versatile. But what I did with this one, we're going to just have this grid on the table at the reception, and then we're going to be able to, oops, we decided this way, didn't we? Yeah, lay it right there. And you've got an instant centerpiece at the reception with a somewhat already decorated table decoration where the girls can just come up and place that bouquet, and then they have their centerpiece. So finding ways to repurpose those flowers in a creative way, not just a cylinder vase on the table when the guests walk in and there's just a vase of water there. Why not upgrade it? This is a Teleflora copper bowl from Thanksgiving with that grid work on top. And let me just show you how decorative we can get with some of that. This is just made out of birch branches. So I've wrapped some yarn and some beaded wire onto it, but this is the kind of armature that I laid on here. It could be laid on top of a vase like that. It could be tilted. So much you can do to use these grids in different ways. And they're just all kinds of things you can do with them. Okay, let me see here. I'm going to move that. Okay, let's go to some more browns. And this beautiful centerpiece here that Lori made for us is, I said, let's just do something with all greenery, just a lot of textures, just really pretty and lush. I want you to come take a look at this container afterwards. It's a gold trough. It's all one piece. It comes in 2 sizes. It's from Accent Decor. Is that not beautiful? Isn't that pretty? Yeah. And how wonderful that works with these long farm table designs that we're still seeing a lot of. But the surprise here is we're going to repurpose bridesmaids bouquets with this. And I had Lori just do, remember what we talked about a little bit of doing, the more smaller, petite designs this year. Maybe they have 20 bridesmaids. So this is trending. There's a lot of weddings that have tons of bridesmaids. When I got married, bridesmaids were maybe 4 or 5. Now we have, 12 to 15 bridesmaids on average. So maybe they can't afford a $75 bouquet for every bridesmaid. So just a little, pretty little nosegay. And again, each one a slightly different style, but in the same color scheme. And we talked a little bit about how wonderful white works with brown. So we've added white and gold here, and I've just used a couple of the Sola wood flowers in there just because they have that natural, elegant touch of white to it. And then our little bouquets, when they come back from the wedding, they come to the reception, they can just place their bouquets. There's a vase, just like this vase, right in this centerpiece. The centerpiece is beautiful on its own merit, but they can just come and set those bouquets in there. And everybody has a spot for their flowers. They're repurposed. And how absolutely lovely that can look at the reception. Okay. All right. Okay, wonderful. And we've got, let's see, I think I have two more to show you, which I think I'm doing okay on time. Okay, so we came across these gorgeous, gorgeous tulips in the workroom. I just asked for something like a fringe tulip or orange or something, and this is what they came up with. Aren't those just the most beautiful tulips you ever saw? Oh my goodness. So we went ahead and followed in this same, it could be green, it could be brown. Um, you know what? It could be almost any color. So look how beautiful that is against the green. Yeah. And the brown. So pretty. Just gorgeous. Okay, so this is hand tied as well. And I couldn't even remember. I don't think I used, no, I did not use a grid work in there. So I used a very solid center of roses and then started bringing depth out from that. So I layered some of the looped aspidistra leaves in there, the variegated aspidistra leaves. I wired them ahead of time so they're loops, so they actually can just insert as a flower. And just went right in there and layered them in different areas, different levels, to give you some texturing and some support for some of the tulips as well, and separation. It was a nice way to separate some of the flowers. This was just a couple of pieces of vine that was in the plumosis, and I thought the artistic texture of it was great, so let's work that in there, and a little accent of the pennyroyal, lepidium, and the beargrass, just to round out some textures, soften a few places, and hand tied again with a beautiful ribbon handle treatment. Accent decor vases that can be placed on the table, not just a cylinder vase. That bouquet can go right in there. You got a centerpiece. Also, you can take something like this. Actually, I could use a container too, but remember we talked a little bit about bows making a trend this year? So look at this beautiful ribbon, wired Anisha ribbon from the Lion Ribbon Company. Comes in wide. That's the thing. If you're going to do the bow, do it big, do it fabulous, and do it luscious. So not necessarily in loops, but in the quality and the texture and the color of the gorgeous ribbons. So we just did a few loops of each color, let it hang to the floor in the accent decor tall vase, and then the bouquet can come and just be placed on there, in there, wherever it needs to be, and you've got a gorgeous piece at the reception. So instant decoration. Okay. Let's see. I may have, like, I know it's lunchtime, but I'm going to do this super fast, and the reason I am is because I always get questions about hand-tied bouquets, the spiral technique. So I just brought a few simple things up here to show you, super quick, and yeah, we didn't want the bucket up here, did we? She said, don't show that bucket. So, all right. Okay, so we've cleaned all the stems of the flowers, and got a little foliage to put around it, but I'm just going to show you this technique with just roses. If you're new to the industry or new to design and you're still learning, this hand-tied spiral technique is very easy and very simple to master. It just takes a little practice. So all the stems are clean, foliage is ready, and if you are right-handed, you're going to hold your bouquet in your left hand. And you'll notice when you're selecting your flowers, some of the stems are very straight and very thick. Those are the ones you want to start with, and you can save your more flexible, bouncy ones for the outer edge because it just helps to shape it a little. So we're going to start in holding in our left hand, just kind of loose. So you don't need to have a death grip on it. You just kind of want to be loose. And so we're always going to place every flower the same in the hand tied. So the heads are going to be to the left, the stems are to the right. This is if you're right-handed. And then you're going to lay on top. Heads to the left, stems to the right. Heads to the left, stems to the right. So you're going to end up with that spiral at the end. And you can see this is simple. It's just always keep in mind. I'm not even shaping or forming the bouquet. I'm just going to toss my flowers in there. And it's always the same, heads to the left and stems to the right. You don't have to turn it. Sometimes you can if you are having trouble placing a certain flower and you want to mix your colors up a bit. So we don't even have a shape of a bouquet yet, but we don't need it yet. Always heads to the left and stems to the right. See, I want a little bit of white over here, so I'm going to give it a quick turn. Okay, so same thing, all the stems. So now we have this big messy mess in our hand. Just hold on to it with 2 fingers, and now you can shape it. You can bring it up, you can bring it out, you can give it depth, you can give it a form of whatever you want. You can make it all round. It just all comes together super quick, super fast. Fast bouquet. So we're going to have a spiral, then we're going to add just a little bit of greenery to it, and we're going to tie it off. Had to do a little pink for Barbie, didn't we? Can't forget our Barbie days this year. So again, same thing. You're going to place that foliage in a very similar pattern as you would of your flowers, making sure you're not overlapping anything. And you still, as long as you just keep that 2-finger grip on it, you can raise and lower your flowers to reposition them any way you want to. And now, how fast of a bouquet is that? Super fast. Okay, let's see. I need tools and a cable tie. I'm just going to use a cable tie here because it's quick. Oops, sorry. Okay. But you can use, I tend to, something I learned from Deborah De La Flor years ago. She wraps her bouquets with bowl tape, Davy tape, Oasis tape, whatever brand you want, and the wide is what I like to use. And the reason is, once you get it on there, your flowers aren't going to move. They stay in place. It's smooth, and it helps to secure everything. So it's a great binder for your bouquets. Okay, so you can see that pretty spiral all the way around. All right, and if you so desire, you can stand your bouquet up. And what you want to do is cut from the outside in. This is a beautiful stoneware bowl. Stone, it's actually a natural stone material. And we find the Europeans like to display their bouquets in a bowl, a low, shallow dish of water. And this is how they like it. They just put a little bit of water in there. Let's see inside. Okay, so you're actually, I like to angle it upward just a tad. You don't want anything in the middle that's longer than the outside edge, because your outside edge is your, kind of like the tripod. And you should be able to just, I got a little bit of extras over here, stand it nicely. And you can do any size bouquet in the world like this. Oops, what did I say? Okay. There you go. Okay. All right. So that technique is just something that I think if you're uncomfortable with, everyone should really practice that. Just use, carnations, use old flowers. Roses are the easiest, but you can use any combination of flowers. You can make this like that. Any of these bouquets that you see can be done with that same technique. Okay, and the last bouquet I'm going to show you is still in the brown section. I want to show you this again. We've talked about it with the yarn for the Helleborus bouquet, but this is just birch, and I've just looped a bunch of birch branches, very irregular. And I did just read something recently that says bouquets are trending away from these woody-looking armatures and structures and things like that. But in the fall, I think this is still going to be a very viable option for a structure to make your bouquet on. So this one is just, you can pass this one around too if you want to. I'm making you do all the work. Okay. All right. And then I created a lovely cascading bouquet, where I have my structure on this one kind of coming down. So I've built a structure that cascades down a little bit so that I can weave my flowers through that too. So back again in our beautiful fall brown palette, such gorgeous flowers, the James Story orchids. I brought vines from home that my abelia is just starting to leaf out a little bit, and in a couple of weeks I'll have the colorful blossom on it that I can use. Texture, texture, texture. I love when you're creating, especially a fall wedding. You know, don't think too much about what you're going to put in for foliages and textures, as far as, I have to have plenty of this and plenty of that and plenty of that. So just put in one stem of blackberries, or just put in one stem of the acacia foliage. I even went out and trimmed off my arborvitae bush. There's so many different things we have to give us texture, to give us color, to give us interest in our bouquet work. Again, hand-tied in that structure. So this structure helps to hold a few things in place out where you want them, support a few floppy flowers maybe, and then because it's coming down here somewhat, I'm able to put some longer things that I could flex down to fit down in here. I've even got some wisteria pods hanging here, and I'll show you that really quick too. I didn't talk about my wisteria pods. Texture, just little strung wisteria pods. These are just interesting things that you can have in your store, have in your displays. It creates a sense of they're doing something different there. They're super creative. They've got such wonderful ideas. You can line everything up in your standard floral cooler and put a price tag on it. But when you feature a few things in your shop on a gorgeous display that shows that you've put a little creative thought into it, you've found ways to enhance things with an accent of creativity like that. My peach fuzz, I don't know if you can actually see it up there. I have fuzzy yarn strings that I've just added to give you that peach fuzz feel up there. There's just a lot of different things you can do to uplift and raise up your design styles and create a buzz in your shop. Do something that people will come in and say, wow, what is that? Or, that you're the only shop in town that does things like that, that kind of thing. You really, really, really want to show them that you are capable and you are the place to go for things like this. So, again, another beautiful accent decor vase that we can display that. Oh, ribbon. Love the ribbon. Okay. All right, any questions from anyone? No, I know you're starving, and I thank you so much for sitting still through this. I know you've got to take a little break for lunch. Thank you so much to Teleflora. Thank you to Great Lakes Florists Association, all these fabulous vendors that they have up on your screen. So generous, so kind. Accent Decor, Syndicate Sales, Lion Ribbon, everybody. We have great partners in the industry, and we are so thankful. Thank you so much for having me.